Thanks, Chris. Tonight on News 3, we do want to touch on a difficult subject, teenage suicide and depression.
It's one of the leading causes of death in young people, but it's rarely talked about. The Battle Creek Inquirer's Stephanie Rutherford has more live from the Inquirer newsroom. Stephanie?
Hi, Judy and Alicia. Writers Katie Oliveri and Anthony Bevan have a special report on the dangers of teen depression that parents won't want to miss. 17-year-old Bryce Mackey had everything: good grades, great friends, and loving parents. Yet depression led the Lakeview High School junior to consider suicide. Mackey survived his depression and made an award-winning short film about his struggle. Here's a short clip.
I'm not saying I want to die, but I don't think I necessarily get all that excited about life either.
Mackey wanted to spread a message of hope to other teens, and the film has been shown to the entire student body at Lakeview High School.
And Stephanie, what has been the public reaction to the film so far?
Well, he's had some criticism, but also a lot of praise, especially from other teens. So look in Friday's Inquirer to learn more about Mackey and the problems of teen depression. And go to battlecreekinquirer.com to see more of the film. Back to you.
Certainly a powerful clip there, just to see his expression and just the way he was talking, what he said. So I'm sure that will reach a lot of young people.
Stephanie, thank you so much from the Battle Creek Inquirer. Hear from
It's kind of nice and rewarding to be able to catch something on something you've tied yourself, rather than on a story.
10 minutes. 9 minutes. 5 minutes. 4 o'clock.
Bryce, we're going out now. We'll be home a little bit later. Your sister's going to stay at a friend's house tonight.
All right.
You know no parties.
I know.
All right, I know I can trust you.
Yeah, well, I think I'm just gonna stay home anyway, so.
Do whatever you want, but call us if you go someplace.
I know.
Come on, honey, we're gonna be late. Bye, you be good.
All right. See ya.
Got your keys?
Yeah, I got them right.
Finally. I've been waiting 4 days to do this. I'm nervous, but at the same time ecstatic. It's all I've been able to think about. I just had to find the right time. I know perfectly well what this stuff can do with your life and how it can ruin the best of people. I don't care though. I'm not mad at the world. I don't hate my family. I'm happy to a degree. I just feel like there's a sort of emptiness that I've never been able to fill. Almost as if I don't really have a strong opinion if I keep living or not. I'm not saying I want to die, but I don't think I necessarily get all excited about life either. I'm a pretty mellow person, but it pisses me off that I can't see a point in day-to-day life. Sure, I feel pain and it hurts, but there isn't a whole lot of pleasure to counter that. And yes, there are times where I love life and see the greatness that it has, but it just doesn't last. Not long enough anyways. Everything usually just seems so bland, so colorless. I've done drugs before. They don't ease my pain, maybe because I don't have much. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I need more drama in my life to make things more interesting. At times I feel like life can be such a downer. When you look at it from the big perspective, it's just so pointless unless that is you believe in God, think that there's some life after death. Which in my case I'm not so sure about. So what do I have? What do I have to look forward to? Did I really need to get up today? It's funny how interesting that is though. Thinking about life. I guess that does get me excited in how people are. That interests me. I mean, once your little mind stops thinking about the pointless stuff in your life that won't matter in 100 years, you really do look at things differently. But that thought will fade, and you will again go back to everyday life and thinking. I realize you never really talk about things this deep unless you're really in thought or depressed. But then again, maybe I am without knowing it. Or maybe I just like thinking things out. Thinking about why I'm sitting here on my bed with nothing to do. Why I don't go watch TV or play basketball or call a friend. I see no point. And for that, I have these white pills. These little things in life called drugs that provide a temporary pleasure. Pleasures that will come and go. And so it comes. My body doesn't feel so warm anymore. As a matter of fact, I feel very cold and numb. Maybe I took too many pills. Maybe I'll just lay here. Is it sad I've never felt so content here on my floor with saliva dripping from my pale lips? Is it a shame I wish I never came down? An eternal high, an eternal greatness. Do I mind if I live or not? Is there motivation? Nothing really stands out. I think I'll just lay here.
Just a couple minutes ago, and I'm here to talk to you about something no one really likes to talk about because it's an uncomfortable subject. It's something that people are usually ashamed of. If they have had a problem with depression, they usually don't want to tell anybody, and they might end up killing themselves over it. 3 kids have killed themselves in the past year or two at Lakeview. A couple months ago, a kid killed himself in Penfield. And 50% of suicides are because of depression. Depression is the #1 leading cause of suicide. And I think that says something. And it's funny because that's kind of startling. And that shouldn't even be startling because everyone should know about that. And everybody in here, there's been talks, you know, when you're younger about, you know, sex ed and math and sports and things like that, but never about depression usually. And this is the first time that I know that anyone's spoken about depression. The first time you'll probably hear about depression. You never, you know, there's no pamphlet that says if you're depressed, go here or talk to this person. You're supposed to talk to your counselor, but you know, no one really wants to talk to their counselor usually. I mean, some people will, but you know, no one really wants to go to anybody to talk about how bad they feel. And some of you kids will be able to relate to this. Some of you kids will have no idea what I'm talking about, because depression is something. It is an illness. It's not something that just happens. It's like, oh, you know, I've been really depressed lately because you know, I haven't been getting good grades, and you know, no, that's not the same thing. Depression is an illness. It is an illness, and people don't know about that. They think it's just something that happens. They're just sad, but ways you can tell you're depressed is if you're constantly depressed, if you're sad more than you're happy, if you're very grouchy, if life doesn't seem to have a point, if suicide comes in your mind right away, if you've thought about suicide, even thought about cutting yourself, or doing anything like that, well, you have a big problem, and I didn't think I did. And I made this movie not knowing anything about depression. I knew my dad had it before. That's about all I knew about depression. I finished the movie about 8 months ago, and I finished it not knowing I was depressed, not knowing that I was, you know, on the verge of doing something horrible. It all started last September, when I realized I was severely depressed. I would just cry for no reason sometimes. And I would just be in horrible moods. I'd hate myself. I'd think nothing of myself. I would not see a point to life. And death seemed like a better option. I'd wake up in the morning and be disappointed that I woke up, because it's another day and that just sucks. And if you haven't gone through depression, you have no idea how bad it is. You have no clue. Think about the worst time you've had, and think about that every single day. That's what depression is. And it's a downward spiral. and getting help is an upward spiral. Not only did I have depression, but I had anxiety. If you don't know what that is, just think about when you get nervous and times that by about 1,000,000. It got so bad that even after 2 months of dating my girlfriend, Elise Hartman, it was the worst because I couldn't even talk to her. I mean, I'd be at the dinner table and I'd just be shaking and I'd be sweating and I couldn't, I mean, imagine the person you love more than anything in your life, you can't even talk to them, you can't even speak to them. It spread to my friends, it spread to my teachers, it spread to everyone in my family, and I did not want to live. I mean, if you can't talk to anybody, then, there's no point to life. And no one informed me about this, no one told me what was wrong, so what was I supposed to think, The thing that came to my mind was just killing myself. And I never attempted suicide, but I thought about death a lot, and I thought about how pointless life was. And I also was very mad after I got help, because why hadn't anyone informed me about this? I know about safe sex, I know about all these things, but no one ever told me, what kids are supposed to do when they want to kill themselves. I mean, kids are dying and no one's telling anybody about it. Everyone's keeping it, so restricted. Oh, let's not talk about that. That's not right. That has to do with death. I'm not really comfortable with that. Well, you need to start getting comfortable with it because kids are still dying. The suicide rate is not going down right now. Kids are still dying, and I would get happy to mow the lawn even, or be in my car alone because I had such bad anxiety that I never wanted to be around anyone. And I'd get home and I'd just be so relieved that I could close the door and be alone in my room. And that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So where was I going to go with this? Well, if I didn't have good parents and I didn't have a supportive family, I probably would have killed myself. I don't know if I would have, but I might have been one of the kids you read about in the paper. Wow, he seemed like a happy kid. Well, he wasn't. And when you're depressed, you're able to cover it up very, very well. I remember being in class with Erica Popovich in English 4 and joking around with her, laughing, making her laugh. And then right after smiling with her, I turned to the side so she couldn't see me starting to cry. And that just tells you that you cannot tell on the outside if someone is happy or not. No matter how many times they tell you they're happy, they could be think of the most happy person in your life and they can be the most suicidal person you could ever imagine. You don't even know it. So what I did was, I talked to my parents and they said, well, your father's gone through this, it actually runs in the family, and you need to get help. So I went to a counselor, and I didn't want to go to a counselor. I thought that was stupid, and I don't want to talk to anybody who thinks they know what they're talking about. That's stupid. And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel like that. That's just dumb. Why should I talk to some old guy about my problems, I might as well just, smoke some marijuana or something. So what I did was, I went to a counselor, sat down with a cross-eyed lady that tipped me off. I mean, she can't even look at me in both eyes. So right off the bat, I was at a bad time with her. And she's like, well, let's talk about your problem. You need to think happy thoughts, happy thoughts. And I was like, screw you kind of thing. And then after about a couple weeks, just her constant talking to me and just ingraining what to think in my mind did help to agree. And this cross-eyed old lady who thinks she's the stuff actually helped me out to agree. But I still wasn't getting that much better. I still had horrible anxiety. I had to break up with my girlfriend. I had to tell her I couldn't date her anymore. And obviously she was confused. And she cried a lot, and we broke up, and that didn't make it any better, but it made me feel better because I didn't have to be around her, and I didn't want to be around anyone. I broke up with my girlfriend for about 2 weeks, and then said, well, screw it, I might as well feel bad with you than feel bad without you. So then we started dating again. But anyway, so I went to the counselor, and she said, well, you know what, not a lot's working right now, so why don't we get you medication? So they put me on this drug, so-called miracle drug, but I'm not saying a pill will make you feel better, but it's made me feel a heck of a lot better. It's called Celexa. I'm not trying to advertise, drugs or anything, but it has saved my life. And it's made me feel better about myself. It makes me think better. And I didn't want to take medication either. It's, you know, that's for kids who are weak, right? Medication, because medication is for people who can't handle life themselves, so they take a pill to feel better. Well, if a little pill in the morning makes me feel better, and if a little pill makes it so I don't want to kill myself, well then I'm going to take a little manila pill, because it's just stupid. Just take the pill if it makes you feel better. It's not a big deal. It's okay. It's okay to cry. You know, everyone thinks they have to be tough guys. Oh, I don't cry. I've never cried. Well, yeah, right. You probably have. Liar. So, yeah, and depression went on for 6 months. And from September to January, I wanted to die every day, and every day was horrible, and no one knew about it until I told them. And it does run in the family, and I got help. And after I made the movie, and now my life is upside down. It has been changed, and I feel like all I should do is tell you guys about it, because you probably don't know anything about it. You know, even adults don't know anything about it. Well, I've heard of depression, but you know, I heard it's bad, but I don't really know a lot about it, and I don't really want to talk about it. Well, okay. Well, your son's gonna kill himself, by the way. So let's see. Yeah, so Alexis changed my life, and it sucks because even my friends around me that are really, really depressed, some of them, I'm not saying how much, this isn't a group of depressed kids that oh, there's the depression. It sucks because parents are like, well, they're just going through their teenage years, and depression can start. You know, I know a kid who tried to kill himself in 4th grade. It doesn't start at 13. When you're 13, you're up for depression. No. It can start as early in the elementary school grades, and it can start as 3rd grade, or, you know, whatever. And it goes all the way up until you die. You can get depressed any time in your life, even if it doesn't run in the family. Certain things can trigger it. And it's all right to feel bad. It's all right to be weak. It is okay to be weak. Stop trying to be Superman, okay? So, parents, especially, don't listen to their kids, or they're embarrassed that their kids are depressed, and they'll never say they're embarrassed. But oh no, Johnny's not depressed. Johnny's just going through. You know, he's just going through his teen years. Well, that's stupid. No, Johnny's slitting his wrist at night, Mommy. Do you want to do anything about it? No, we don't need to do anything about that. And you need to listen to your kids. And if your parents aren't listening to you, because I have a friend whose parents don't want to do anything about it. His parents just didn't listen to him, and a lot of parents don't. And then the kids end up, you know, going to drugs. And I'm not saying drugs are an escape, and drugs can make you more depressed. And I'm not saying, you know, when you get older you shouldn't drink or anything, but whenever you drink or you do drugs, you're trying to escape something. And whether that's escape your real life to feel better, or escape your bad life to feel better, it's just drugs and drinking actually makes you more depressed. And I know that sounds crazy. Well, in the long run, it really does. Every time you do it the next day, you're a little more depressed, even if you can't tell. So that never helps things by doing drugs. A lot of kids don't smoke a lot of weed, or they drink a lot, and they're trying to escape reality, but they don't want to tell anybody about it, or tell them they have a problem because they're embarrassed. So if you talk to your parents and they don't listen to you, or you talk to your friends and they don't listen to you, or you talk to your teachers and they don't listen to you, keep talking to someone and you can get help. It's not that hard to start counseling or take a pill, because it'll change your life. And if you've been thinking about suicide, or been thinking about killing yourself, or thinking about slitting your wrists, which I have, I've cut my wrist before. I know what it's like to take a blade and to cut it into your skin to feel better about yourself. I know what it's like to punch yourself in the head over and over to feel better. I know what it's like to be so depressed in the morning that the only thought that makes you feel better is putting a shotgun in your head and blowing yourself away over and over to bring a smile to your face. And I never used to know what that meant. Why would kids slit their wrists? That's stupid. These kids are stupid, right? Well, if you get so down and you feel so depressed, the only thing that can feel better is if you inflict pain. And I never used to understand that until the one night where I cut my wrist. felt so good to see blood. It felt so good to see pain because it took away from the other pain. And that's sad. And no one was there to help me. There weren't any pamphlets to help me out. No one wanted to talk to me about it because everyone is afraid to talk about their problems. So I was left with nothing. And if it wasn't for my parents that helped me, I don't know, I might have been one of those kids you read about in the paper. So if I wouldn't have had great parents, I'd probably been screwed. I had all these great things in my life. I had a tennis, I had a girlfriend, I had good grades, I had everything, and everything was wrong. And it's because of depression. So please don't feel afraid to talk to someone about it to get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with talking to if I can talk to an old, cross-eyed, mean lady, you can talk to someone else about it. So, yeah, that's my story. There's obviously got to be some questions. Does anyone have the guts to ask me a question? Does anyone have any questions about why I felt bad, or what depression is, or what anxiety is, or no one has any questions? Okay. Can you pass that up? Can you pass that up? How long did it take for you to get over your depression? Okay, the question was, how long did it take for me to get over my depression? It took me probably about 2 to 3 months once I started the medication, and then I felt extremely better, and everything was good, and I didn't want to kill myself anymore. So. Okay, are we good then?